Hey guys, and welcome to Current Aquatics. This is the first video on the channel, and today we're going to be setting up and escaping this 40-gallon peninsula tank. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. So when starting out this build, I honestly had no idea which direction I wanted to take it, and in the past I've kept African cichlids, some South American cichlids, and some goldfish, but for this build I really wanted it to be different. Every time my family comes over to my house, they always go straight to my saltwater tank, and that left me thinking, I really need to boost up my freshwater game. And so, after going on some online forums and some Facebook groups, I finally realized that this tank just had to be a planted tank. So in some of my other tanks, I did this thing where I would make the light look as if it's levitating, and it's really just using some clear wire and hanging it from the ceiling. But it's pretty simple to do. You just take out the little brackets on the side, and then I found these little hooks at Home Depot, and all you do is you just screw it on top of the area where the light is going to hang, and then you just run some clear fishing wire through it and tie the end. And then once you do that, you can just lay the light on there, and the light is only a couple grams, so you shouldn't have any problems of it falling. So the next day I ended up going to my local fish store and buying some aquarium plants. So the first one I bought was some Amazon sword, next was some water sprite, as I believe it's called. The next one was some free duckweed. I know a lot of you just like hate duckweed, but you know, it would add a little spice. And lastly was some jungle valve. And I had this leftover piece of driftwood from a previous build that I planned to cover in moss. And you'll see what we do with that big piece of driftwood in the back. So as I pull up rocks, you're going to see a bunch of detritus and dead leaves come out of it. And it's pretty nasty, but it's because I have this giant pleco that just constantly poops. It's pretty disgusting, but you know, I realized it's easier to clean poop than to clean algae. So that's why I haven't rehomed it. And after a couple minutes of rearranging rocks, the tank ended up looking this murky. And my whole goal for the hardscape and the plants was to be able to see all of it from all three sides, while also giving enough space for the fish to swim. So as we start planting with this first Amazon sword, I really wanted to make sure this plant was in the very front, because it tends to be a bigger, more showpiece plant. And so I kept on trying to keep it under the sand, but then it just wouldn't. So I ended up just putting it under a bunch of rocks, and eventually it just started rooting by itself. So next was the jungle valve. I wanted to make sure this plant was in the background, because they tend to be a longer plant, and my wave pump was in the back, so I really wanted to give it the wavy effect with those plants. Lastly was the water sprite. I've never kept this plant before, but I heard it's more of a root feeder, so I just mainly used it as a filler plant, just putting it in some areas that I didn't have any plants yet. And after a while of scaping and reorganizing, well, here's the final outcome. And that mostly wraps up the video for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button on the way out. It really does mean a lot to me. And this is the first video on the channel, so if you guys want to see more updates on this tank as well as all the other tanks that I have, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell on the side so that you get notified anytime I upload a video. And until next time, make sure to keep your hands wet and that current flowing. See ya next time.